What's happening, guys? Welcome to the show. Classic Chris here with another episode of Wrestling Talk. Back with me is infamous Jay Moore. Jay, you're back from touring again, so
yes.
How was that? How's the most recent tour, man?
Everything's been going good. I actually got blackballed from the last company I worked for.
What?
Yeah, just over the weekend, they wrote me out of an angle with it was like the Montreal screw job. They pushed me out of an angle. I was with Hipstar Zach Atticus, and he was facing Freddie Mercurio in the gay wedding match. And
what gay wedding match?
Yeah. It was like, Freddie Mercury is a gay character. Zach Atticus, a Hipstar, is a gay character. They're a tag team now. And anyways, basically, they politically got me out of the fucking angle I was in with them and pushed me out of the. I get them both over, and they push me out. So I got stabbed in the back, and now I'm sitting here in studio because I got some dates that I'm not able to fill in right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You heard it first here, ladies and gentlemen. That is just crazy. A gay wedding match and you get written out of a promotion. Wow.
Yeah.
That's two things I never thought I'd hear in the same, the same statement or whatever.
There's been like a territory war in Mississauga for the venue, the Rock Pile, where a bunch of different promoters are like fighting, to get their shows in there. So I actually got called in for my own podcast tonight on Hipstar Tonight and did a couple live appearances there and got written into like an angle for Death Proof. And then, politically, and not because of the owners. I like them. I got treated very well. I think, I don't know exactly who it was because it was a complete blackball.
Whoever's idea this was.
Complete blindside to me, but I think I know who's behind it.
Oh wow, that's something. That is something. That's
I don't know what to do. I don't know if we should do the.
Then have you and then ask you on the podcast too and everything like that. That's like taking money away from you.
Yeah, they had me do commentary on a couple of their matches, but I like working there. So if you need me back, I'm available at More Infamous on Twitter. Thank you, and. I don't know. I just feel that, and I feel I had a great match. Like, I don't know what they're doing with the stuff on demand or whatever, but I had a great time over at Death Proof. It's just one of those things, man. We all we get into the territory and we kill the town.
Well, that's the thing. With us heels, you get over, and for some reason they hate your heat. Yeah.
Well, traditionally, you're putting over the baby face.
Exactly. That's the job.
And we've seemed to have gotten away from that. Like, we don't do those things anymore. Like, there's not a lot of heat on heels, I find.
Absolutely
and
not.
I think, like, at the shows that I work, it took me a lot of years to even try to figure out how to get over. A lot of it came from I was working with Diener or Tyson or something that knew how to get over, and I kind of learned along the way. Now I get more heat on me at these shows than I ever have before, and I think it's because I put heat on myself. I make something controversial, and I think it's something that we've gotten away from in the wrestling business that we don't do anymore. There is no heat on things. There's no Roddy Piper slamming a coconut into Jimmy Snuka's head. There's no, there's just no heat. There's no Austin coming in and cause raising hell. There's no anything that was Attitude Era you don't see anymore. We're in the PG era. In fact, it's now called the Indie T-shirt era because that's exactly what we're doing. We're just booking indie workers that sell T-shirts, sell merch. And it's not that I'm bashing that. I just have to understand that that's the era that we're in.
Like there are no heels anymore. Like, where's a dirty tactic to win a match? Like, you don't see that anymore.
Yeah, I often point out I like Kevin Owens, but Kevin Owens doesn't do anything dirty to win a match. He just powers his way through and wins a match. Like, there's no more... maybe this time was a little cheap, but there's no more, like, grabbing a chair. There's no more, like, grabbing the tights. There's no more even putting a foot on the ropes. Even Eddie Guerrero used the cheapest of heat to get over, like, as a heel. It was great, and...
Even the finger poke, like, you don't see that
It's a performance art anymore. We're not emotionally attached anymore like we used to be where... you want to see the heel get beat. It was the same shit that made like Hogan and Austin and The Rock all over as baby faces as they wanted to beat up Triple H or, the Iron Sheik or you know what I mean? Piper was a great heel. Everybody wanted to see Piper get his ass kicked. Now it's a performance art where you like Austin Aries, you like Roderick Strong. This is going to be a great match, and you're not emotionally attached to wanting the heel to get beat. You don't know, like you're more looking at how it's booked and how it's written and where they're going with angles than you are. Is somebody going to win this match, or your favorites in the match? There's no more favorites because you aesthetically, it's pleasing to watch a guy like Austin Aries, Eric Young, Roderick Strong, Ty Dillinger. So you don't really care. You don't get emotionally attached and want to see these guys beat. You just want to see a great match. You know, Magnamora, Kevin Owens, like all these guys are great workers, but there's not necessarily any heat. There's not any necessarily, like Kevin Owens, I hate to say it again, like even with the Face of the America stuff. Well, that's all he is. They just call him the new Face of America. There's not putting any heat even on that. There's no story behind that. It's just that he's the Face of America. And, okay, can't we do a little bit more with that? Like, make him the Face of goddamn America. Make him a heel that's cutting promos. Like we've gotten away from those kind of things.
Yes. Like, it seems like the only guy that's really actually a heel nowadays is your boy Jinder Mahal, the WWE champion right now.
Yeah, he's like, you're absolutely right. Everything is just kind of vanilla now. Everything is just kind of plain. Like, you like certain things. Like, Joe is a great heel, though, I think.
Oh, he's a monster heel, though.
Yeah. Like, there is some good stuff out there. Like, Brock, he can never do wrong. Kurt Angle can never do wrong. I even kind of like what the Usos are doing. I don't know, man. It just I like what everybody's doing. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying there's no more. You don't see like heat anymore. You just don't see a dirty heel. That's all I'm saying.
Like, remember when Savage was a heel back when he was Intercontinental Champion? People wanted to stab him for how treacherous his deeds were. Like Ted DiBiase kicking a basketball out of a kid's hand.
Savage even won the Intercontinental title cheap. Like, he pulled something out of his tights, slammed it into Tito Santana's head in the Boston Gardens. And won the Intercontinental title that way. And he hid behind Elizabeth. It was great heel tactics. So, you know what I mean? There was just, there's no more dirtiness. I mean, the closest I think you can get right now to anybody that's like that is like Bobby Roode. But even then, I think they hold it back. Like, there's just, because I think even though Bobby Roode's a heel, you still like to see Bobby Roode out there.
Well, because he's got that swagger. Yeah, like he just knows what he's doing. He's just one of those cool heels, and that's the problem. Like, heels became cool, and I blame a lot of that on the NWO. But they're still winning with dirty tactics. Like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, as WCW champion, never won a match clean. When he beat the Giant to become WCW champion the first time at Road Wild, Hog Wild, whatever the hell that pay-per-view was called, it took basically Nash and Hall to win him that championship.
Yeah, it's almost like they say that Hogan was the thug, not Hall and Nash. Hogan was the lead thug.
Yeah.
Even though Hogan he was 50 years old.
Yeah, he was the guy getting his ass beat, and then all of a sudden Hall and Nash come out, and then saves the day.
Yeah.
Let's just put Hogan on him.
It was just different times, I guess. So you just kind of got to go with the flow of this is what's happening. Yes. And we have performance centers. Like, we never even had those before. There was, like, hard to break into the business, and now they tell you what to do. They tell you how to cut promos. You learn this shit.
It's like cookie cutter now.
Yeah, I guess, but, I mean, that's you have no choice because where else are you going to go?
If I got a contract and everything, hey, I'll do it. Like, what? I have to read a script on commentary? Okay.
But even New Japan with the Kenny Omega,
Osaka,
like, that was, that match is still a draw. It's not that it doesn't make money, but I don't think anybody's getting behind one or the other. They're just saying this is a 5-star match. You want to see this. But you don't want to see Piper finally get beat by Hulk Hogan. Yes. It's not that kind of attitude anymore. It's not that kind of mentality anymore. The shows aren't even written the same anymore. Mm-hmm. It's open the show with a promo that we've always had. Guys are we're like, if you go back to the Attitude Era, you would have Jim Ross. It would look exciting when the show opened. Fireworks going, the whole building with signs. Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler are like, "Welcome to Raw."
They're going
Tony
nuts.
Schiavone.
Yes.
Now, we don't do that anymore, and any of the backstage segments is some chick walking up to Dean Ambrose or a guy. It's always like it's a segment, and some guy walks into the segment, and they have their confrontation there. Before, you would have limos coming into the building, shit going on, and you wouldn't see, like nowadays you get one segment of the guy. You'll see Dolph Ziggler in his one segment backstage and his one match, and that's it. Where back in the day, the stories continued. You would see the NWO coming in a limo, but it would trail throughout the rest of the show. Yes. Now Kevin Owens has his own segment. Dolph Ziggler has his own segment. The Divas have their own segment. It doesn't blend through an entire show necessarily, you know. And it opens with a promo every time, and not with two announcers that are excited about doing their job.
That is a very good point.
I mean, just even the commentary itself, I'll just keep this quick. It's even that. It's very monotone, all of it. Where JR used to yell into the microphone, they used to get excited. Now it's like golf commentary. It's JBL mumbling, you know, like he's some sort of Wall Street CNN reporter reading Wikipedia and Google, just dropping facts. Michael Cole, just it really, I hate to talk like this, but it really makes me fall asleep compared to the old days, you know, Attitude Era or beyond, where like Joey Styles, we'll watch him open up a show. You know what I mean? I want to be excited when I turn on Raw again. I want to be excited when I turn on SmackDown again. I don't want to turn it on and I feel like I'm watching Sports Center.
Yes. Well, like, and I agree with you because, like, Jim Ross, he was a great hype guy. Like, when you tuned in, Jim Ross got you hyped for the matches coming up. He got you hyped for the show. Like, Vince McMahon, Gorilla Monsoon, like, they were great guys to sell off that show and that match coming up.
Yeah.
And even Jesse Ventura was selling off. He was selling off how the heels should get their asses kicked. Like you know, like how he would applaud their tactics. How he would point out, it's like, he didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't see nothing. My monitor went out or something like that.
Yeah.
Or he'd just call out Gorilla Monsoon. He's like, you're full of it. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Like, you're just making up stuff. Like it's just not like that anymore.
No. But their commentary carries out through today because that's who those guys study to become commentators. Like, what's that heel commentator's name? I keep forgetting.
Corey Graves.
Yeah. I find him very Jesse Ventura, very Bobby Heenan. Like, he studied those guys. He's very, like, one-line stuff, or you know what I mean. It's very it's generic. It's just where the business has gone. These people are students of that era, and that's what we're producing now. You know, we're coming out of a performance center. You're stuck in a funnel of this is how we do business, and this is how you're going to learn it if you're going to make the money.
You're 100% right. It's not like it's going to be how it was back in the day because it just seems like no one gives a fuck anymore. Like back in the day, like JR gave a shit. Like you could tell. Like, these guys just don't care. Like, I remember one time the cell was coming down on Steve Austin, and the cell was literally 50 feet away from Steve Austin, not even closer. And it was like, the cage is coming down on Austin. It's coming down on Austin. He's like going to have a heart attack doing it. But to me, it's like, oh shit, he's selling that off. And
Michael
Cole can't
like
do that.
I like that.
Yeah,
you know?
Same here.
It's what I like. I like all those guys. Jesse Ventura. I wasn't huge on the Brain, but I like the Brain. You know, and Larry Zbyszko.
Oh, Zbyszko.
I'm just kidding.
The human game of chess. He was terrible. He's up there with Steve Mongol McMichael for just brutal commentators.
Bischoff was brutal, and he missed it. You know, I wasn't into him. But I like Bischoff as a character, and I think he's smart, you know. And
he knew how to book and make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was the only guy to put Vince on the rocks, up on the ropes.
No one's ever done it since.
Yeah.
Or even gotten that close.
I don't think anybody ever will.
No.
It's too late now.
It's done. That guy owns it. It's like a monopoly. This guy owns it.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's never going to retire. So, I mean, until he dies, it's Vince McMahon's, and then he'll go to Triple H, and I'll be happy with that, too.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, it's just not like how it is. And I'm a big fan of, like, a lot of those great commentators, like Joey Styles and everything. And it's just, with that Performance Center and everything, we're not going to get back to how it used to be. So,
yeah, you know, at the same point, even if you're not a fan of it, don't hate on it, because that's what a lot of these podcasts do.
Exactly.
They're very cynical, and then they hate. And I think, like, it's not such a bad thing. It's just a different era. It's a different time. And I don't even know, like, you got millennials and people young watching this that don't even know the era that you're talking about anymore. So it's just something that we have to accept. And especially if you're in the business, you really have to accept it, because you got nowhere else to go.
Exactly. And that's the one thing, like, people don't know that era that I was talking about. To me, is one of the greatest eras in wrestling. But with everything nowadays, I'd be doing the exact same thing. You know what? To be honest, I may hate on it, but in deep down, I'm more jealous that I'm not doing what Michael Cole's doing. Like, that's the one thing. Like, I'm sitting here, like, in a nice studio and everything like that. Like I'm not ripping on where I'm at. Nice studio. Thank you, sponsors. But
at the same time, it's never been easier to get a job either, because it's never been easier to break into the business where you can go to a performance center and learn. Like, these guys had to learn all this shit without all that. So,
but they don't want, like, a kid to come in off the street and be like, hey, I want to become a commentator. No, they use that for guys that they like from the performance center that they just that like get injured.
Yeah,
and
you
couldn't
got to go
wrestle.
through the system.
Exactly. Like, and there's no way they'll ever like say like, yeah, well, we'll let you try like you like do some bumps and stuff. No way, I would never be looked at like.
Well, in the words of the great Rikishi that once told me, he once told me that it's an open door policy. It's like you gotta take it in your own hands and go.
You just gotta
And when
run
you're
with
given
it,
the
eh?
ball, you gotta I mean, if you want to be a commentator, you want to be a commentator for the WWE, the best thing to do is contact that performance center and go down there, and learn how to do it, because that place is like a huge facility with all that kind of stuff in there, and they got all those kind of lessons being taught that we never had before. So there's really no excuse. It's a follow your dreams sort of system.
That's a good point, and I never thought of that. I guess I'm going to have to get my passport then. And that being said, you know what? I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Jay, it's always a pleasure having you back in, because I know with your
Love it.
I know with your busy schedule and everything, it's tough getting you in. You're on the road all the time, so it's awesome having you here, man.
Yeah, I like doing these shows, and I like talking to the audience, so thank you.
Yeah, and again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. I'm Classic Chris, and this has been Wrestling Talk.